Hello Internet, I'm the Disney Brain, and welcome back to the Boy Meets World review. Since you all seem to really enjoy the Season 1 review, I'll probably end up making an entire series out of these videos and review every single season, all leading up to the top 10 best episodes of the show after we review Season 7. Last time, we asked how good Season 1 of Boy Meets World really was, and, as it turns out, the answer was a pretty easy one. Season 1 was very good in a lot of ways, and established a great foundation from which the remaining seasons of the show grew. And, as we continue to go through the seasons, we'll continue to ask how good they were, what worked, what didn't, and why. With all that said, let's jump back into Boy Meets World and review Season 2. So, Season 2 of Boy Meets World transitions us away from middle school and into high school, which is inherently a little weird for those of us that started high school in 9th grade, but that's a minor point at best. While Season 1 had a lot to do with establishing Corey's relationships with other characters and understanding how and why certain dynamics work, Season 2 is much more focused on our lead characters slowly figuring out where they belong, both literally and figuratively, as we'll discuss. The biggest cast adjustment comes in the form of John Turner, who appears in every Season 2 episode and serves as more of an in-classroom presence, with Feeney also teaching, but primarily serving as the principal of John Adams High in this season. Mr. Turner also makes a handful of guest appearances in Girl Meets World, most notably in Girl Meets New Teacher, which is an intentional parallel to how Mr. Turner himself proves to be a very unconventional teacher, but still an effective one. His character provides a healthy balance between jovial and committed, as he takes education seriously, but is also more willing and more able to relate and appease his students than Feeney, who is considerably more conservative in his teaching principles. And it's Mr. Turner's ability to relate to his students and what they're going through that eventually sets up the Season 2 finale. That we'll get into a little later. A lot of this season is devoted to Corey and Sean figuring out high school through avoiding bullies, finding dates, and trying to become the classic 90s interpretation of cool and popular. With it comes the introduction of Harley Kiner and his supporting gang of Joey and Frankie, who kind of serve as bullies, but it's mostly a lot of rhetoric on their end, as they are more useful as comic relief most of the time. Not surprising anyone, the path towards popularity only bears fruits for Sean, as he quickly develops a reputation as a ladies' man, while Corey develops a reputation as a nice and sweet boy. This leads to many episodes where girls and dating take center stage. I feel like this show handled that aspect well for a couple of reasons. 1. The particular ways that Corey and Sean go about dating girls fits well within the frame of the characters that they are both developing into. 2. This show wasn't afraid to just have these two go on casual dates with girls, knowing that it's perfectly okay to not find your soulmate in high school. Well, Corey technically did, but that's besides the point here. And 3. It did well to set up how the pair would function as relationship partners in later seasons. Now, not all of the episodes that fall into that category were necessarily important or even well constructed, and I would even go so far as to argue that there is 2 episodes too many on that front. But hey, I don't even want to talk about who Lucas might eventually end up with, so that probably won't surprise most of you. But most of the episodes regarding the topic of dating and relationships prove my aforementioned points fairly well. Beyond the trials and tribulations of the opposite gender were a handful of well-done episodes where the cast could apply what they've learned in the classroom in, at times, unconventional methods that have become a staple of many great Girl Meets World episodes. But the season has its best moments in the late episodes, where Sean becomes the center focus. One of the season's best episodes is Wrong Side of the Tracks, where Sean struggles to find himself in the aftermath of getting dumped by a girl of a different social circle. And without Corey's intervention, it could have sent him down a very, very dark path. Later on, his mother leaves, taking his mobile home with her, and his father, Chet, leaves to go track her down. This creates a situation where Sean's already unideal personal life gets even harder, and the emotions he struggles with while just looking for a place to belong is some of writer Strong's best moments on the show to this point. The Matthews residence serves as his home for several weeks, but Sean just felt out of place living there while also holding out hope that his father would eventually return. Once it becomes apparent that Chet will be gone for a long time, it's Mr. Turner that offers to take Sean in. This move makes a lot of sense from the perspective of character arcs, because Mr. Turner has proven over the entirety of the season to be one of the few people who can truly understand what Sean is going through and struggling with. He essentially provides a similar kind of relationship that Mr. Feeney has with Corey, an authority figure in their lives that they can both trust and confide in while still being their teachers first. But one of the show's best episodes actually has nothing to do with either Sean or Corey, but with Eric Matthews. In the context of this show's first 2 seasons, it's easy to overlook Eric as a lovable goofball who says funny things and goes on a couple dates. But in the episode By Hook or By Crook, we really get to see the real Eric Matthews on full display beyond all the jokes and quips and below average test scores. It's all about cheating and academic integrity, and it does so well as a singular episode to set up his character for the vastly more crucial development he undergoes in Season 3. All in all, I'd be tempted to call this the single best episode of Season 2, if not for the fact that Home was such a satisfying and sensible conclusion to the dynamic that developed all season long between Sean and Mr. Turner. The 5 episodes I would consider the best from Season 2, in order from 5 to 1, are Career Day, Wake Up Little Corey, Wrong Side of the Tracks, By Hook or By Crook, and Home, with an honorable mention given to Band on the Run for being one of the funniest episodes in terms of the setup and subsequent execution of an idea. I feel that those episodes do a great job of not just highlighting this season, but also being important episodes in the context of Boy Meets World as a series. So, the question remains, how good was Season 2? The answer? Pretty darn good, but with a couple of stumbles along the way. Don't get me wrong, there weren't any episodes that were awful, or even bad for that matter, but a couple felt somewhat flawed conceptually, and as I mentioned, I think they spent just a bit too much time on the dating side of things when they could have potentially told a more diverse set of stories. But all that's up to personal preference. I also wasn't a big fan of how they never really explained in the context of the show why Morgan was so absent. I know that as a child actor, she must have had other priorities such as school and her real home life, but it wouldn't take too long to just explain where she is during whole episodes where she doesn't appear, which wouldn't be a big deal if she could take care of herself or live somewhere else like Minkus, but this is a little kid we're talking about. All in all, I would say that the best episodes from Season 2 would be slightly higher than the best from Season 1, but I think Season 1 in its entirety has it slightly beat. I just feel that on average, the topics Season 1 tackled were tackled in a superior way, even though it didn't have the same kind of build-up to a strong finale that Season 2 has. But the point here is that both seasons do different things well, and both seasons are very strong ones. I think one thing Season 2 missed out on was a chance to develop Stuart Minkus as a character, who was a good character in Season 1, and could have gone through a Farkle-like arc, which has proven to be one of the best parts about the show's successor. It could have served to better balance out episode topics as well, with one or two maybe giving Stuart a chance to really shine, but alas, that wasn't to be. As good as this season was, stay tuned, because when we dive into Season 3, I'll explain why I think that season is arguably the best of the first 3. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and throw down a like, subscribe for more, and share it everywhere. And don't forget to follow the Disney Brain on Facebook and Twitter for updates. Links down below. The coming days will finally bring the return of the Girl Meets World review, as well as the Teen Beach 2 DCOM review. Since the most common requests I get are for specific DCOM reviews, I'm actually going to list all the DCOMs I tentatively plan to review in a comment down below, just for reference. The order is mostly based on all of your suggestions, as well as films I want to talk about, so if you really want a specific review, let me know, and then that DCOM will go higher in priority on the list, or get added to the list if it isn't there already. So, see you all right back here as we take a look at Girl Meets World Season 3 premiere. Until then...
So that's why this building exists. Some of us are students and some of us are teachers, and if the students listen to the teachers, then... Oh, I almost got it.